Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to share with you the game I played at the Mind Sports Tournament. This is game 1 versus Stan Vaughan, and he opens up d4. I play knight f6, c4, c5, d5, and e6. So this is a modern Benoni. It's really my main weapon against d4, and it's served me well this tournament. I had another great game with it and a great result. So knight to c3, e takes d5, c takes d5. This is all booked so far. d6, e4, g6, bishop d3. When I showed this game to Juan, he criticized this move bishop d3, but apparently we're still in book. It's probably not the main move, it's more of a side move, I guess. Anyway, bishop g7. I think this whole line he played was a side line, knight ge2. So I guess the idea is if I ever play bishop g4, he's going to play f3. And obviously if I try to get my bishop to b7, he's going to, with an idea like a6 and b5, he's going to play a4, restricting my mobility. So castle, he castles. Yeah, the main problem with the Benoni is what I do with this light squared bishop right here. There's not a lot of prospects along this diagonal, so I have to figure that out. a6. If he's gonna let me play b5, then I should try for it. But of course he plays a4. Knight b to d7. f4. Rook to e8, putting the rook on a semi-open file and pressure against his e4 pawn. Knight to g3, and here I play queen c7, and threat is c4, so I can get my b5 in, and here he plays bishop to e3. And I have a comment from Fritz saying that this is the last book move played. I guess bishop e3 isn't the most accurate move. Instead, bishop c4, just to blockade that pawn on c5 to keep it from moving. It's a very interesting idea, and I had the computer run for about an hour or two on this position, and it came up with queen d8. And it's saying that this is about equal, but yeah, I'm not sure exactly what I have against this bishop c4 idea. Luckily for me that wasn't played, it was bishop e3 instead. And rook b8, so I'm going ahead and I'd like to play b5 at some point. And an alternative maybe is h5. I thought about this actually in the game, because that knight is on g3, you push those rook pawns to kick the knights away when they're on the either g file or b file like that, but I decided that pushing that pawn would create weaknesses in my position, and I wasn't really sure what to follow up here. Computer recommends e5, and then I follow up with knight g4, attacking the bishop. It would have been interesting. This is something I probably should look into a bit. Anyway, rook b8, that's a typical idea. King h1. Now, I'm not exactly sure what this move does. It's prophylaxis for something. But yeah, I'm not sure what the idea was. I wasn't really seeing it over the board. And it doesn't prevent me from playing c4, so that's what I do. And then bishop c2, b5. A takes b5, a takes b5. And here from white we have the move e5. It's pretty aggressive. D takes e5. I decided this would be okay for me though. d6. And yeah, I guess that passed pawn may be kind of dangerous, but right now it's completely blockaded. So I play queen c6, and then he plays f5. So he wants to pry open my king side, obviously. Bishop e7, threatening checkmate. And he plays knight c to e4. And at this point, I played knight d5. So, a lot of, well, besides me threatening the bishop on e3, there's a lot of squares for this knight here on d5. It's really nicely placed. And I'd like to get to the f4 square someday, so I thought he'd need to keep this bishop on the h6 c1 diagonal, but surprisingly he puts it all the way back on g1. And as soon as I saw this, I was more than happy to play knight to f4. Yeah, bishop g1 is definitely not the most accurate move. Bishop d2 instead, and then I play knight f4 anyway. But at least in this position he could take off that strong knight. Knight to f4, and rook to a7. And so I just continue logically. Rook a8, putting the rook on an open file, and asking him what he'd like to do with that rook. And he says, I'd like to go down the exchange. And I say, well, I'll be happy to take that rook. An alternative to rook a7, rook a8. What he should play is queen to f3. This would have been much more challenging. And here I just play rook takes a7, bishop takes a7, and yeah, this would have been a different game, but there's no reason to go down the exchange. I mean, yeah, that's a great bishop, and I have a strong battery, but rook's still 5 points, and a bishop's still 3 points, and I'm up a pawn in this position. Queen takes, queen f3, and yeah, threatening the cheapo of knight f6 check. I see this instantly and play king h8. Now I thought about moving the queen, but in this position there's really not a whole lot of squares I can move her to. And if I try queen a6, I mean, there's not a whole lot of great prospects on that square. So I thought she would be best just on b7, just, you know, threatening a trade if the knight ever leaves. So king h8, h4. So yeah, just trying to attack on this king side by any means necessary, I guess. Rook a2. As Nimzovich would say, the objective of occupying a file is to get on the 7th rank. So I can say that I have achieved that this game. h5. And an important lesson that I've learned is that you want to continue your attack. You don't want to just respond to what your opponent's threats are. You would like to push your own plan if you can. So here I thought I should just continue with that rule in mind. Rook takes b2. And here he reacts to my move by playing rook to f2. And I was very happy to see this move. Oops, sorry about that. Rook to f2. And here I decided to finish the game tactically, playing g takes f5. And the motive here is deflection. So knight takes, queen takes. I first deflect the defender of that knight on e4. And then my next motive is removal of the defender. I capture that bishop on c2, and then that knight should surely fall on e4. Or so I thought, because in this position Stan Vaughan slammed his knight on g5 and actually scared me. It was like was afraid that he might like knock over all the pieces in this on the board. But after a moment or two of just collecting myself, I just calmly played knight to f6, defending h7 and attacking the queen. Plays knight takes f7 check, and I just move out of check, king g8, knight to h6 check, bishop takes h6, queen takes h6, rook takes f2, queen takes f6, hanging mate n1, so I play queen takes g2, and that's the end of that. Well, stay tuned for game number 2, and